If you are the crafty, arty teacher and you love to do this stuff, then you're going to fly with this. And you've got some kids who are going to present you with some ideas that you go, hey, that's pretty cool. Bring out the mixed medium, patty pans, who knows? They're going to be sticking things on. Dare I say, try some glitter. That will just add a memorable moment to your week. But it's just a really nice way to get kids being creative and create a mini masterpiece for the very important people in their lives. Now, if you want to take your drawing to the next level, you could even get them to do like smaller drawings.
Welcome to Rainbow Skies for Teachers, the go-to show dedicated to teachers who want to make a big difference in education. Whether you're in your first few years or well into your teaching career, we are here to inspire, support, and empower you with bite-sized tips, simple strategies, and the motivation to lead an education revolution, one classroom at a time.
We're Ashley and Alicia from Rainbow Sky Creations, two Aussie teachers who love all things teaching and learning. We are here to help you thrive as you work toward making an impact in your students' lives while loving your life as a teacher.
We are here to help you bring joy, simplicity, and creativity into your classroom on the daily, because
there are rainbows ahead, my friend, and together we're unstoppable.
Let's get into today's episode.
Rainbow Sky Creations acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we record this podcast on, the Dharawal and Whadjuk Noongar people. We pay our respects to their elders past and present and extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander cultures.
Welcome to Rainbow Skies for Teachers. We're so glad that you have stopped by. I've got Ashley here. She's a mother, and we're going to talk about all things to do with mums, aunties, grandmas, significant people in your life who are like a mum.
For Mother's Day, this episode's important to us, and one of the reasons why is because we want to explain some different activities you can do in your classroom that your kids can take home and give as Mother's Day gifts. But all of these activities that we're going to describe can be used for any significant person in a student's life. We know that it's tough out there, especially for those kiddos that may have family situations or their mum isn't around. It's hard when these days come up. It's a really tough time. So we don't necessarily need to use these activities just for mum. So that is the disclaimer at the beginning of this episode. And that's why we really love these activities, because they're inclusive. They cater for everyone, every little person in your classroom. My dad, he grew up with just his mum. His dad died when he was about 18 months old. And he said every time they did Father's Day crafts or Father's Day activities in the classroom, he always got sent out just to another class. And he remembers that. He's almost 70. But he remembers that, and still it's like something that kind of hurts a little bit. And I don't think that would ever happen today. But it's also important that we explain that all families look different and that we all have different people that are important to us in our lives.
Yeah, I think that's the big key, isn't it? Like still that element of inclusivity. And yeah, families do look different. So we've made sure that when Mother's Day rolls around, that this is an activity that can be done by any student for any important person in their family. So don't push it aside because you're like, oh, I don't want to ruffle any feathers. This is a great one. Like we've seen teachers do it for teachers. We've seen like students do it for coaches, for anyone. So it's a really lovely activity. So Ash, tell us about it.
It's called the Mother's Day Love Jar. This is just a segue. I was going through a tough time many years ago. We created this template for teachers to use online for their students for Mother's Day. And I was telling my girlfriend Karen about it, who is a massive supporter of Rainbow Sky and a massive supporter of the pod, even though she's not a teacher. So shout out to Karen, you are the best.
Whoop, whoop.
She made me one of these with all of my friends to make me feel good about myself. And it did. I kept it on my desk for so long, and it's still sitting in my studio whenever I need a little pick me up. So it's a Mother's Day love jar. We've created these in our own classrooms over the years, and then we created templates to make it really easy for teachers. So basically, students bring in a recycled jar from home and they fill it with messages of love for their mum or that special person. Now, when I very first did this activity, I remember the classroom I was in. I remember telling the kids to bring in the recycled jars, bring in a spare just in case someone didn't have them. I was cleaning them at home, etc., etc. And I explained the activity that we were going to be writing messages to our mums and putting them in the jar. Now, the activity worked fine, but what I found is that the kids really needed like that little bit more scaffolding. It was a grade 3 class. Some of them were just off and running. Some wrote some good things and then some junky things, you know. And then some of them were completely lost. So then the second year that I did this, I created some templates to create that scaffolding for them. So sentence starters that they could answer or questions that they could answer and put in. And that worked so much better. Some kids still chose to freestyle it, while other kids used the particular scaffolds or the prompts that they wanted. And then we just got better and better at it over the years. And then we ended up creating it for teachers, because I had so many teachers in my school saying, oh, I'd love to do that activity. Can we do those jars again this year? So that is where it all came from. Now, you don't have to use a jar. There's lots of different things that you can do. We know that teachers, we get so many pictures on Instagram and teachers sharing that they've done this with their class. We know some teachers go to Kmart and buy cheap jars that they can use so they all look uniform. We know teachers use like paper bags. You could use that. You could use Snaplock bags. You could create just an envelope with these little messages, but the jars are really pretty. Put a little ribbon on top and a gorgeous little label, and it just makes for a really nice gift.
Yeah, I'm just still chuckling at the templates. And my favorite one is, if you were a pizza topping, you would be. What I love about this activity is, well, it gets the kids being creative. 2, it gets the class writing. You will have reluctant writers in your classroom, but they will not be reluctant to write about their mum or their very important person. So this is a great one. It embraces student choice. We've given you so many templates, and you're going to have kids in your class who are going to be like, I want to fill in all 40 of them. And then you've got the kids who are like, actually, I just want these 7. Like, these ones are good for me. So it's really great. Guarantee you will have one or more person rock up at your door after Mother's Day and say, thank you so much for that gift you got my child to create, because it meant so much and it had me crying and it was just so beautiful. It will bring on the waterworks. Just a word of warning.
It will. We actually got a message from a teacher on Instagram. It was either last year or the year before. And we were explaining these jars, and she messaged and said, you'll never believe it, I got one of those jars last year and it was the best present I ever received. Thank you so much. And that was like, oh, it touched me as well, that it stood out to her. She remembered it. It was really important to her. Obviously, her child put a lot of time and effort into writing those little love notes. It's really sweet. And as you said, it covers some skills as well.
Yeah. And I used to teach an all-girls school, so the crafting would get intense sometimes. And I had like little hearts that are being cut out, and we had like little confetti we could put inside, or the kids were like, can we put chocolates? And some even tried adding colour to PVA glue to paint the jars to add and then we had some who had got all the little love hearts and made like little love heart flying butterfly origamis. So the jar in itself was a masterpiece. You're not limited to the creativity element when it comes to it. That's why I probably like the jars. But if you're going with paper bags or even the Ziploc bags, you can get creative. If you dare give your students Sharpies on a Snaplock bag, they could decorate that as well if you've got kids who really want to get creative and draw something on there. But highly recommend it. Love jars for the win.
Yeah, they're great. They're always going to be my go-to Mother's Day craft, like forevermore.
Yeah, ditto.
You've heard it here first. Okay, the next idea, Alicia.
Okay, so this one is director drawing. This is so popular in my house at the moment. I've got an avid 4-year-old who loves drawing, and she could direct draw all day long. I'm like, baby girl, you got to get out and have the sunshine. So this is just a really simple and lovely way for students to create a picture for their mother or significant person in their life. So I love using the YouTube channel Art Hub for Kids.
Me too. They're the best.
So they are the best. They're like the original. You can't beat them. So I've done in the past directed drawings of butterflies. We've done flowers or anything that they think their mums would like. Like, you can give this autonomy to your students. So if you've got devices, or you're going to have library time where you're going to be in front of a computer, you can get the students to go on Art for Kids Hub and to search what they might like to draw for their mum. So usually I like whatever it is that they have to watch it first all the way through, so they can get a visual of beginning through to end, and then making sure that they always use like a black marker or a Sharpie, and then they can use whichever medium they may choose to. So when we created butterflies, I had the students use their Sharpies and then we colored them in with colored pencils. But I got the students then to cut out their butterflies and to create like a watercolor wash background where we stuck the butterflies on top, or you could do marble printing. Look, if you are the crafty, arty teacher and you love to do this stuff, then you're going to fly with this. And you've got some kids who are going to present you with some ideas that you go, hey, that's pretty cool. Bring out the mixed medium, patty pans, who knows? They're going to be sticking things on. Dare I say, try some glitter. That will just add a memorable moment to your week. But it's just a really nice way to get kids being creative and create a mini masterpiece for the very important people in their lives. Now, if you want to take your drawing to the next level, you could even get them to do like smaller drawings. You could laminate them, cut them out, put them onto old magnets. You might have kids who are like, oh, miss, I've got this. I'm going to do a portrait of my mother. They might get super creative and they might want to make that into a magnet. And so it can be a masterpiece that lives on your fridge or any metal surface that a magnet will attach to. I really like this one because I feel it's very individualized and unique.
Yeah, and it's an easy one to do. You don't need all of the fancy things. You don't need to do a lot of prep to get it ready. Just a little teacher tip for magnets. I don't know about you, Alicia, but I'm always receiving magnets in the post from like the local plumber and tree chopper and all of those things. I collect all of those. I don't put them on my fridge because I'm a very type A person and I like to have my fridge looking very neat and organized. But they are great to cut up and to stick on the back of things like these artworks or even manipulatives and stuff in your classroom. They're really great to reuse for that. So that is a little hot tip there for you.
Keep all those magnetic calendars you get.
All of that money that those real estate agents are spending sending you out calendars, use that for your classroom. Okay, our final idea for Mother's Day or special people in your students' lives are creating an everlasting flower. So we've got a template of these. The kids have got flowers that they cut out and then they put it together to make a 3D flower. But each side of the flower, so each template, will have a prompt for them to answer. So again, it's encouraging them to write. It's giving them that scaffolding, but they're flowers that last forever. So they're not going to die like the flowers you normally buy on Mother's Day. It's just a really fun way for kids to get crafty, but also write their mum some messages. It can be the card in itself. You don't need to put a card with it. They're really cute.
Yeah, they're a nice one, a nice little touch. You could pair it up with your directed drawing. I was actually even thinking, going back to those directed drawings, that you might have printed out a template for best mums. It's an A4 sheet with questions on there and the kids fill it in to decorate, that you just stick it on the back of your picture. But these everlasting flowers, you can accompany them with any of those like My Mum templates, which we actually do have as a freebie, which we can link in the show notes.
Yes, we do have a freebie that we can link in the show notes, all about mum style of thing that you could just pair with even another art or craft that you're doing. Or even those kids that are fast finishers on that week of Mother's Day, have those free templates there. We've got ones that say My Mum, but we've got ones that say like all about you. So again, it doesn't have to be for a mum. We've got Australian and American spelling too, by the way, if you're wondering. But you can have them there and kids can go and complete them as a little fast finish activity for the week.
I just find them so comical. I feel like if you've got a quirky kid, they're going to make it a very quirky answer template.
Oh, my youngest, my goodness. Some of the things she has written for me for Mother's Day over the years. She's getting a little older now, but still just as quirky.
Then you go, please, I'm embarrassed to say you've shared that with your teacher. Oh my gosh. So let's recap. We've got 3 really great, impactful, thoughtful Mother's Day gifts that you can create. And what are they, Ash? Remind us.
They are the love jars, our number 1 all-time favorite. Creating a directed drawing and being creative with that, and that is your gift. And then finally making an everlasting flower, which is like a 3D little template that you can put together to give to your mum or your special person.
Yeah.
Oh, and the bonus, our freebie, the All About Mum or All About You template, we will make sure that freebie is linked in the show notes.
So there you have it. May you have a lovely rest of the week, beautiful listeners. And until next time, there are rainbows ahead, my friend.
And together we're unstoppable.